Michelle has a question. She said, I've been in business 19 years and starting out with developing two products. I'm currently retailing curl products in my salon. What should be my first steps in marketing slash branding the product? That is a large question, but that is a Shawn question. What you?
All right, Michelle. What's the first part? I'm looking for her question here.
It's in Q&A. It says, I've been in
Okay.
business for 19 years and
Okay.
starting out with developing two products. I'm currently
Right.
retailing curl products in my salon.
Okay. All right. And then the question is?
What should be my first steps in marketing slash branding the product?
Okay. So the first step before marketing would be branding. That's the first step, because it sounds like you're selling it already in the salon. You said you're selling some curl products in the salon. So I'm assuming there must be a brand name of some sort, or some descriptions that you're doing. So let's just assume for a minute you came up with something, but maybe you want to make it bigger or better. So now would be the time to really make sure that your brand name is created. And it is something that you feel that could be ownable. And that's where, Latasha comes in and from the legal side, but that your brand name is ownable, recognizable, and something that you feel like you can build upon when you establish your brand name. Sometimes people use a person's name or their name or something like that. Be careful if you're using your name, because obviously your name has a lot of things attached to it. And that you want to make sure that whatever it is, it's ownable. And again, that's where legal and marketing hold hands together. So you want to try, and I would also make sure that your branding is, just remember, it's going to go everywhere when you start marketing the product. Your brand is going to show up on, the package. It's going to show up on materials that you create, t-shirts, banners, everywhere. So make sure, one, that people can pronounce it and say it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Sometimes we get excited about a name. Big companies have done it, and we put a name out there that nobody can say, or we will mess it up, So just make sure that it's something that can be recognized and articulated and can be animated across multiple platforms. And then what was the second question?
Marketing. So branding and marketing.
And then in terms of marketing, marketing is the word marketing. When you think marketing, there's a lot of different parts to marketing. It's not just one thing. It's not just going on Instagram, or, it's not just creating a website. That's one part of marketing, So when you're thinking about marketing your product, you have to think about, I'm going to assume that you have done no marketing at all. You have to start with first identification of your, specific target audience, your end user, and I'm not saying that you would feel this way, but a lot of people sometimes market to themselves. And because a lot of times we feel like we know the customer better than anybody else. Well, first of all, make sure, one, that you listen first, listen to the consumer and their needs, hear it, because it could be very different than what you thought. What if your consumer is not on TikTok and they're on Facebook? People say, oh, well, the older people on Facebook, I want to be on TikTok doing videos, Well, you could look really cool being on a certain platform, but you want the consumer to buy your product. Just because your friends don't see that brand doesn't mean that somebody isn't buying that brand and you're generating revenue. Just saying. There are lots of brands that don't do a whole lot of advertising and they make a lot of money. So for marketing your brand, I would say start with the basics, the basics. Make sure you're sampling your product, putting it in as many people's hands as you possibly can, getting testimonials on your product. I sent out a little thing that I shared about this too, but make sure that you're you're including your product in gift baskets, or that your brand is being participating in things that your consumer cares about. For an example, your brand could have sponsored this event with us, right? For an example, if your end user was going to be a part of this event. Think about that, things like that. Virtual events are really great things to sponsor and sample, to be a part of that. And then of course, digital marketing, which is a whole, part of the conversation. But, basics, cover the basics, make sure you know who your consumer is, serve your consumer well. And that's really the key to that.
And she said she's been in business for 19 years and has a salon. So I would assume that her salon clients are good for R&D, if nothing else, when it comes
for testing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, and also, let's say, how do I say this tactfully? Even though sometimes we may fall in love with something, the end user, you have to get her from, oh, this is nice, to, oh, I have to have it.
Right.
That's marketing.